Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We're here again live in Radio Apni Awaz and doing our usual podcast with AJ and Ahmed. We're in the studios, and if anybody wants to contact us, please do contact us via 01274 27176 or 787. There's a WhatsApp number that is available if you Google us. So yeah, we're based in Bradford, and we do broadcast throughout the world via online platforms and live. Right, without further ado, we are obviously this is a Ramadan and Quran Fair special program, and one of the first topics we've got is the liberation of Makkah or Fath Makkah, and we've got our esteemed chief reporter who has, we should say, quite a lot of knowledge on this topic. And yeah, mashallah. So what is this conquest, Ijazab?
So the Fath Makkah, as it's known, is the liberation of Makkah. And the Fath liberation of Makkah is a beautiful reminder of the mercy of the Islamic army in victory. And the reason we'll go on to explain that, and this took place on the 20th of Ramadan, 8 Hijri. So this took place, I mean, the context was that what happened was the Quraysh and their allies, Banu Bakr, violated the Treaty of Hudaybiyah by attacking the Banu Hazema, who were allies of the Muslims. So because the violation of a treaty took place, the Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, which was that was agreed between the Quraysh and the Medina by the Prophet ﷺ, treaty for 10 years. And the Quraysh, one of the Qurayshi allies, Banu Bakr, violated that treaty.
So there was a treaty and there was a violation of that treaty. I think with Quranic, we've seen that with Quranic quotations where when people break that treaty, what are the consequences? So in this particular event, the treaty was broken, you're saying, by the Quraysh of Makkah.
Yeah, so one of the allies of the Quraysh, Banu Bakr, so I just mentioned it, which was that it was one of the Quraysh's allies, Banu Bakr, violated the Treaty of Hudaybiyah by attacking Banu Hazema, who were allies of the Muslims. So this treaty
is this one of those 40 tribes? So I think previously we've mentioned.
I don't know how many. Obviously, it was like a treaty was between Quraysh and its allies, and the Prophet ﷺ, and Medina, the tribes of Medina, and the allies of the Muslims.
Right, and this, some people classify as a liberation, and I've seen it written as conquest.
Yeah.
Is it a bit of both, or is it a liberation where they've, like our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has migrated to Medina, and they've now, should we say, grown in numbers? Is it about 10,000?
So 10,000 strong. The army, Muslim army, numbering 10,000, set off from Medina to liberate Makkah. They eventually reached the place which is known as Mar al-Dahran, which was about 5 kilometers from Makkah, without the knowledge of the Quraysh. So they're right on their doorstep now with 10,000 strong army. And so obviously you could expect, what do you expect them to do? I mean, that's the next question. What was going to be the reaction of the Quraysh when they realized that the Muslim army was on their doorstep? And the Quraysh did have a reason to be fearful, because before Muslim before Muslims had a state, the Quraysh had defamed, besieged, beaten, and martyred the Muslims. They had conspired to assassinate the Prophet ﷺ when they feared that Islam would become powerful beyond their capability. After the Muslims had a state, the Quraysh had fought them on their own, and the Quraysh gathered others against the Muslims as a huge confederation to fight the Muslims in the Battle of Khandaq.
So what we see is where the Quraysh are defeated. Remember, I think we need to remind people that our Prophet is from the Quraysh tribe.
So the Prophet ﷺ was from the Quraysh, and one of the tribes of, obviously, the Banu Hashim.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. So, would you classify this as a major gain for Islam in general?
It was a victory and liberation of Makkah, and the way the Prophet ﷺ, because the Prophet ﷺ is Rahmatul lil Alameen, he is a mercy to all of mankind, and so the Prophet ﷺ asked was asked, how do you expect me to treat you now? How do you expect, what kind of treatment do you expect from me? And the Prophet, they said, you are a noble brother from a noble, you're a noble brother from a noble father. So the Prophet ﷺ said to them, go your way, you are liberated. So the Prophet ﷺ told them that they are free to go.
Was there any compulsion on those people to accept Islam?
So there was no compulsion, but there was, when this army went into Makkah, there was going to be expected some trouble. So with 10,000, the Prophet ﷺ set up four divisions, and the only one, there was a little bit of skirmish between which Hazrat Khalid bin al-Walid dealt with that there and then, and so this was basically a victory. So Makkah was liberated, and the Muslims could now, the idols were destroyed, and Muslims could, Islam could be implemented in Makkah.
I think you mentioned Khalid bin Walid. So most of the prominent Sahabas were present in that battle.
It was not a battle.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
They walked in, and there was a little skirmish. So the Sahaba that were there, Hazrat Bilal, he climbed the Kaaba, and he did the azan on top of the Kaaba. So that, and also the Muslims, all the Muslims, 10,000 strong, you could see that they had grown so much that now they could take on anyone in the Arabian Peninsula.
Yeah, I think before we were mentioning the Battle of Badr, where there was 313.
Yeah.
And that compared to 10,000 is a massive difference, and obviously it's an achievement in terms of Islam. So,
yeah.
So it's great to see these kind of historical facts. We can't really call them stories, but they are for nowadays quite important in the sense that they should be an inspiration. So what's your advice for the Ummah of today?
Yeah, before I just go on to that, I just want you to consider Salahuddin's entry into Al-Quds in 583. That's in Hijri as well, after Hijri, 523, 1187. Christian era, which marked the city's liberation. And Salahuddin also displayed mercy by setting reasonable ransoms for the Crusaders. Upon entering Al-Quds, Salahuddin ordered the rebuilding of the city and to its original state, reversing changes made by the Crusaders. Christians were allowed to stay, pay jizya, and live under the protection of Islamic Sharia law. Salahuddin rejected suggestions to demolish churches. Salahuddin's compassion extended to the Crusader captives. He released prisoners and demonstrated kindness even to the families of fallen Crusader knights. Christian sources and historians acknowledge Salahuddin's remarkable tolerance and humanity, contrasting sharply with the atrocities committed by the Crusaders in the past. 8 days after the liberation of Masjid al-Aqsa was purified and the first Jummah was prayed. Now, obviously you can look at what's going on now in the world and how Muslims are being treated. So, they're being called terrorists and, for all the different, basically, and, while the Western foreign policies or the Crusaders, as you can see, what they're doing. So my advice is consider the Fath of Makkah in these times of trial. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant nasr against the tyrants, even if it is after a while. Persist in your da'wah to Islam despite the hardships of life. Persist in your efforts to restore the authority of Islam despite the tyranny of tyrants. Persist in demand that the armies of Muslims give their nusra for the establishment of the deen, despite their clinging to the ignorance of nationalism and secularism. Persist in the sure knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supports those who are obedient to Him, even if it were after a while. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, O you who believe, translation, O you who have believed, if you support Allah, He will support you and make your foothold strong. That's in Surah Muhammad, ayah number 7.
And I think that is a very important reminder. People do think these are fairy tales, these are historical, factual events that have happened. So it's nice to hear that, especially in the month of Ramadan, and we will be back very soon.